Hello, welcome to day 72 out of 100. And today was, I feel like I always say this. I always start the videos like this. Like, today was a good day. But today was maybe even a great day, dare I say. I'm pretty hesitant to say that about my days because I don't know. For some reason it's hard for me to admit when I have like a great day. But today was, if any, a great day, I think. I So like I come down to Houston every month or so to catch up with my dad about work and run him down about what's been going on and like ideas and opportunities. And this time I had probably the most like things happen since I last saw him in terms of work, just with like all the meetings I went to and all the things I learned and the opportunities that have come through those and the ideas that have formed from that those I try to say those and that at the same time. And so I was a little bit anxious about our time catching up. And I usually am, just because of some weird son father tension where it's just like a little awkward. But this time I was a little anxious just because there was like so much, and I knew he would probably ask questions that I didn't have answers for. And yeah, I mean, like we talked, and conversation went pretty well. And it was also just, it was different. Like this time when I was speaking with him, like everything just felt lighter. And I also like, there was more like laughing, and there was more like joking around and just talking about like non-work stuff. And what I noticed with that is that like the only reason that I was able to like just joke around with him a little more and just like talk to him about like non-work related stuff. And the only reason that I was able to do that was just because of the fact that I guess I've built more just like confidence with like myself. And like that's given me, like through that confidence, I've given myself the space to just like be more like friends with my dad. Which like I don't have I haven't had like a bad relationship with him ever, but like somewhere in like middle school, like the whole puberty thing happened, and I started like distancing myself from my parents, like especially to my dad. And like I never really spent a lot of time trying to close that distance again. And so for a long time, like I've felt a little awkward around him, and just like, especially in like the affection department. And not that I was like super affectionate this time around, but like I was just talking to him about like just random funny stuff. And when we said bye today, like I told him I loved him, which like normally that's like really hard for me to say to him for some reason. But today it just like came out. And like even just like a year or two ago, there was a part of me that always felt like in order for me to rebuild like a certain amount of closeness with my dad, that it was going to take a lot of work and a lot of like talking with him, talking through things. But what I'm finding is that that sort of connection is almost coming solely from my just lack or like lessening of fear around being a little bit more vulnerable around him and just being more comfortable with talking to him about the things that like I just want to talk about sometimes. And also just like having the confidence to feel like if I bring something up to him and he's like, well, what the fuck are you talking about? That like I have the the confidence to basically just be like, well, if he reacts that way to what I say about that, I mean that like that's just like him being weird. Like I'm like, and so like having less fear around like judgment from him, like all that stuff, like that all like comes from me. And just like me changing over the last few months, especially, and like over the last few years, like that's what's seemingly closed that distance between me and my dad. And I really felt that a lot today. Like it was pretty awesome. And yeah, that was pretty cool to experience today. So yeah, yeah, that happened today. A big like sort of milestone slash stepping stone was I don't know, stepped onto today in terms of work, and things are moving forward. So that's also just, I was gonna say exciting, but I don't know if it's exciting really. Maybe it's interesting. And had a had a killer workout today. Thought about going to socialize at a cafe that I like hanging out in Houston, or started to like hanging out in Houston recently, but decided to just stay home and eat my dieting foods, and also just enjoy this space to myself, because that's a pretty rare occurrence. And I'm glad I did that. Like I was initially, when I was like debating after my workout going to the cafe or coming here, when I started to settle more towards just coming home and like being by myself, a part of me was like, are you sure you're not just doing like an avoidant thing? But no, I'm pretty sure I wasn't. Like honestly, like I it's been a while since maybe not a while. Like this is a pretty new feeling for me. Like earlier today when I was deciding whether or not to come home or go to the cafe, I really felt this feeling of like I really want to just like go hang out with people and like chat with strangers or something. But what pulled me home was the idea that like yesterday I did a little nighttime snacking. And so I went over my macros for like the first time since I started my diet. And I also had IHOP this morning because my dad, that's just the kind of food that he likes to eat. And so like my macros were all fucked up. And I knew if I went to that cafe, I would be fed things that I shouldn't be eating. And so that was one reason. The other reason was that like I had a lot of work come up today and I wanted to get that done. And I knew that if I went to that cafe, like I might get some work done, but also there'd be, if I was there for 4 hours, maybe like 2 hours of that time would be spent working and maybe like 40 minutes of that time would be productive because like the owner there is, he's a yapper and he's just like always, we're just always talking about stuff or he's always introducing me to people. And so I just, in order to get some work done, also decided to come here. And also like being alone here feels pretty different from being alone in my apartment in New York. Like being alone here feels like more isolated, like in a good way. And so yeah, I just wanted to spend some time alone, get some work done, eat some proper food, and yeah, I'm glad I decided to come here. And I think that's it. I decided to. Oh gosh, excuse me. I decided to move my plane flight forward a day because I really don't need to be here longer than just a day. And also like, yeah, I feel like I need more time to like pack and get things sorted back at home in New York before going away for another few weeks. So it'll be good to have that extra day in the city. Yeah, I think that's it. So thank you for watching, and I will be back again tomorrow.